All right. Good morning, everyone. It's Yvonne Ashton here with another Mornings with Mayesh. It is April 20th, guys, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Our guest, Sharla Flock of Sharla Flock Designs, came highly recommended as she is known for being a true industry advocate and she embodies the philosophy community over competition. If those two concepts speak to your soul, then you want to stick around for the next hour. So I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to come on in, say hello while we're waiting, let us know where you are from as usual. And just a little reminder too, if you have any questions for Sharla or for myself, just go ahead and post those in the comments. Obviously, as we have time, we will answer those questions. Always happy to answer questions. I love questions. And also, I wanted to make sure that you guys know about our 20th location that is opening over in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're going to be opening this summer. So if you or someone you know would be a great fit with Mayesh, we are looking to add to our team over in that area, and I'm going to post the link so you guys can check those career positions that are open after the show, of course. Also, I don't know if you guys saw our new video that we just put out. Gilberto Espinoza, our Mayesh design star, one of our design stars from last year. He helped us out. He worked with us and David Austin Roses to kind of help show off what you can do with a David Austin wedding pack that we are currently offering. The video turned out absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to just put that link in the comments as well so you guys can check that out later because it's breathtaking. I love it, love it, love it. So make sure you check that out. Hi, Susan. How are you? From Arizona. It's going to start warming up. I know it is here in South Florida. How is it for you guys? It's crazy, crazy. The weather's been bananas, but that's okay. It's okay. Pretty soon it's going to be super hot. So yeah, keep on coming in, say hello. I've got a bunch of people over on Instagram Live. I see some people coming over on Facebook and YouTube. And with that, we are going to get started. Hey, Sharla, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning. How are you?
Uh,
Hello to everybody.
Good morning. Yes. Hi, everyone. Charlotte, you really did come highly recommended to have as a guest on my show from our friend Janine over at Cal Flowers because you're really just a huge advocate for the flower industry and more specifically the San Francisco floral community. It feels like much of the industry is embracing the idea of community over competition. That's been a theme I feel like we've been hearing about for a while. So, you're just the kind of perfect person to have, as part of that conversation here with us today. So, thank you so much for joining us. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and then before we get started, and can you just introduce yourself a bit and share about your flower story, how you came to be where you are today?
Yes, I would have. Buckle up, kids. I feel like it's a long story, but not that long. So, I am from a small town in Washington State called Omak, and it's just nestled like 40 miles south of the Canadian border. Growing up in that small town, my mom, especially my dad, he was the muscle. My mom was, sort of the garden designer. So, and the landscape designer, and I grew up in this really sort of beautiful place, this little small community. My dad's law office was in an old hotel building. It's still barely standing, but in the back of that, a family friend started her first flower shop out of that, and so I can remember from a really young age, really appreciating and loving flowers. And like I remember like growing snapdragons and morning glories, and as a young kid getting up early so I could watch them open, which is a little cuckoo, but I am a morning person and I always have been. Then fast forward, went to Washington State University, was getting my BFA in fine arts. I needed to take some summer classes, so I opened, literally, I'm really dating myself, opened up the yellow pages, and when I got to Florist, it's sort of like, just like, it was like a flashing neon sign. I'm like, I've always wanted to do that. So I called some of there were like 3 florists in the area, and one of them was hiring. They're like, we'll teach you, flowers, color scale design. We'll teach you the rest. And it just from there, it's just been magical. I then graduated with my BFA, moved to San Francisco in 95. Did not really know what I was going to do. I think my plan was I got my BFA, I'm going to go get my master's and I'll teach. And to me, that made sense. I never really like totally grasped the idea of floral design as a career until I started working. I was in San Francisco like for a few days, maybe a week, and I stumbled across this most magical place called A Bed of Roses that no longer unfortunately exists, but I'm still friends with the owner, Pat Miller, and she opened my eyes to a whole new way, a whole new approach of floral design. My mind was blown, my soul was lit up. I suddenly saw things in a new way that, oh, maybe I could do this floral thing. And it isn't just a floral. I'm not just a florist, but I'm like more of an artist. And it sort of connected the two things so beautifully and perfectly. And so that is kind of how it started. And then I went ahead and put on my big girl pants and started my Sharla Flock designs in 2002. And then I've just continued to be on this journey and continuing to learn and love and like fill my soul up with all the good stuff that flowers brings to my life. So long story, but that's it.
Yeah. No, you did great fitting that in a few minutes. That was
All right.
perfect. So I know you mentioned Sharla Flock Designs, but I know you have, I think, two other companies. Is that
I
correct?
do. I do. So I have my husband and I have a company called Bloom Tuesday, and it's a floral subscription service here in San Francisco. We had launched it in 2017. It never took off. No one was at home. And then during the pandemic, we saw everyone was at home and was desperate for flowers, and the farmers were desperate to move the flowers because the flower market was closed. So we did an ad on Instagram, called it the Stay Home and Bloom, and boom, we were off to the races. And since then, it's just been continuing to grow. So we're keeping that going because I love it. I love that community experience that happened during the pandemic. It kept us afloat because I couldn't do weddings and events. And then in March 2020, I launched my third business called the School of Bloom because I really, really want to get into more teaching because I think there's a lot of powerful stuff that can happen in that space. And we all know what happened. So I had to pause that. I resumed it in September 2021, and I'm now also teaching workshops when time permits.
Love it. You're a
Yeah,
busy lady.
I am, but I love it. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is your philosophy when it comes to competition within the industry?
So I believe that the more we support our competition, the sort of the stronger the unit becomes. And I think this comes from, like most florists are female. I think that the statistic is like right around 72%. I don't think that that's true for the Bay Area necessarily because I have a lot of male floral design friends, but I think generally speaking, the idea of supporting women and entrepreneurs and artists, because at the end of the day, we're all artists. We didn't just like start. For the most of us, we did not start doing floral design because we thought we were going to, make $1 million and we were going to, it's not very scientific and there's a part of it, absolutely. But I think the idea for me is the more we support our competition, the stronger we become, right? And like, I want to know what so and so's doing, and I don't want to feel threatened by that. I want to be like, wow, that's cool. That inspires me, right? So I think underlying all of that, like this is scary stuff being an entrepreneur. This is scary stuff. If anything we've learned in the last 2 years is, oh my goodness, this is really intense stuff at times. And so instead of being in a place where we all feel insecure. Like I'm just hello. I think you're probably lying if you've never had an insecure moment. And of course, like those feelings will come up when we see other people doing things, but the trick is to flip that script in our head, and then it becomes bigger, because then when you're reaching out to that other designer, oh my god, I love what you did there, because then it like makes all of us look good, right? It's like if we can flip it into a positive narrative, then it's a win-win situation. So that's kind of like how I try to approach things, is like I want to be like the cheerleader for our like Bay Area floral community, because I think there's enough work for all of us, and the more we're doing beautiful work and supporting each other, that just feels good. We support each other and we just become stronger, right? And I just don't think that happens enough at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. So you're saying you're not seeing it happen enough, but have you seen a shift among floral designers in regards to the idea of community over competition?
I mean, I definitely felt this is happening. I started a group, I don't even know how many years ago now. It's a Facebook group for floral designers in the Bay Area. And it originally started with just like, hey, we have stuff that we want to unload. So it's kind of like an on site, like a yard sale of like used floral goods. But since that time, as it evolved into this great community of where we can ask questions like, what are you charging for this? What are you charging for that? How do you do this? Is this freelancer available? Do you want to help me? And so I just think that it's become really this big connection. And within those parameters, then now we can all talk to each other and it doesn't have to be so scary. And all the time I'm emailing, my fellow competition, like, hey, what are you charging for this, to make sure that I'm aligned with that, because, you know, we can't be undermining each other. We have to be aligned. We have to need to charge the same, so that designers are all on the sort of even playing field. And then that way it allows the client to pick based on the designs and that artistic quality that they bring, instead of just price alone. So
Right.
that's, another bonus of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good. So I shared the link for your Facebook group, but
Oh,
it's
good.
for Bay Area florists, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
But I love that idea, and so I know there's a lot of floral Facebook groups out there. Some of them are more positive than others, so you got to kind of check that out.
yes.
But I love your idea of like creating a group for like your geographic area. I think that would be great. Do you have any tips for people who want to start a Facebook group and for their area?
I think all it takes is one. I mean, all it takes is one person to throw up that page and then text a few friends, "Hey, let's build this community together." It really doesn't take a whole lot. It's like a click of a button and a heart full of love, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
it doesn't take much at all. Just do it.
In terms of like being an admin of a group, like how
Yeah.
much time do you have to spend doing something like that?
I don't spend much. I don't spend a whole lot of time on it. I mean, it's just like it exists.